Thank you for meeting with me. If this is your first visit to the Bellflower Casino Resort, I hope you're finding it a pleasant one. I've owned this place for over 30 years. Running the Bellflower has been my life's work. A life which is almost over. I have terminal cancer, and I've been fighting it for years, but my time is coming to an end. I've already come to terms with my condition, but it leaves me with a problem. I never found time to start a family, and I don't have any close friends. This hotel is all I have to leave to this world. It's my legacy, but I have no one to carry on that legacy once I'm gone. I need you to help me decide on the best person to inherit the Bellflower. I've made a list of 4 candidates, each of whom has a strong connection to this hotel. Unfortunately, I don't know any of them very well. I've invited them all here for the weekend, under the guise that you want to do an interview with them for a book that you're writing about the hotel. Now, they're being paid a healthy stipend for their time, so you'll likely find them willing to answer any questions you may have. I want you to learn everything you can about them and report back to me if you discover anything relevant. Their names are Ashley, Mallory, Sarah, and the last one is a couple of newlyweds named Todd and Becca. Ashley is a magician. She's been holding her magic show here at the Bellflower since we added a theater during our last renovation. She's been here longer than any employee, and she's as financially tied to this place as anybody, aside from myself. She's a private person, so I don't know much about her personal life. Mallory is the unluckiest person I've ever met. She's also one of the nicest. I've never seen so much tragedy befall such an undeserving person. I unfairly gave her a hard time when we first met, but we get along well now. I gave her a complimentary stay here at the hotel to apologize, and she wouldn't stop talking about how much she loved it here. I think she might even like my hotel more than I do. Like the others on my list, I don't know very much about her. Sarah is the daughter of the Goodley family. She's been staying here with her parents on family vacations for years. That family is so wholesome that they make the Brady Bunch seem edgy. They're a welcome breath of fresh air here in Las Vegas, and I love the idea of someone with very strong moral values like Sarah taking over the hotel. I barely know anything about those two. Their names are Becca and Todd. I met them today when they were checking in. They came to Las Vegas to get married, and this trip is also doubling as their honeymoon. Yeah, I know it must seem odd to consider leaving my estate to a couple I barely know, but honestly, I barely know any of the people I'm considering. I figure that if they're staying here for their wedding and their honeymoon, then they're going to have a very strong emotional connection to the Bellflower Hotel. Plus, it almost seems like fate that they happened to check in today while I'm trying to make this decision. I'm counting on you to ascertain whether or not they're good people worthy of consideration as heirs.
We're very lucky to live there. Our neighborhood is just dandy. But then again, I guess everybody says that about their hometowns.
We have friendly neighbors, a brand new school, and the best darn volunteer fire department you could ask for.
Well, it's not perfect, though. Crime has been on the rise lately.
Oh, that's true. Last Halloween, 2 houses got toilet papered.
Yeah, bunch of us pitched in and we got those houses cleaned up by noon. Still, it was kind of disappointing to know that something like that could happen only a few blocks away.
Cleaning up all that toilet paper was really fun, though.
That's our Sarah, always looking on the bright side of any situation. A few years ago, we heard that Las Vegas had undergone some changes and was very family friendly now. Once we heard that, we just had to come check it out.
And we were not disappointed. There's a lot more to do here than just gambling and attending wild rock concerts. There's an aquarium, a history museum, and gondola rides.
We even found a soup kitchen that lets us volunteer every time we come here.
We do participate in some of the wilder activities too. Last year, we toured the Pinball Hall of Fame. I figured we are in Vegas after all, we might as well get a little crazy while we're here. We all love doing charity work, but to be honest, Alice and I don't find nearly as much time as we should. Sarah, on the other hand, always finds the time.
She volunteers every week at an assisted living facility, a food bank, and an animal shelter. I wish I had her youthful energy.
Thank you. They're just being modest. They both do plenty.
When I was younger, I did what I could. Now all I really do is make the occasional donation.
What about when we went to the beach last summer?
That's true. We spent the day cleaning the beach, and we had a contest among ourselves to see who could collect the most trash bags worth of litter.
Daddy won by a full bag.
It doesn't matter who fills the most bags. What matters is doing our part for the environment.
Every piece of litter you pick up off the beach is one less piece that'll make it into the ocean. That's what Daddy always says.
I take 2 weeks vacation from my dental practice each year so we can go on a family trip.
It's safe to say our Las Vegas trips are our favorite. This is our 3rd year in a row coming here.
Next year, I'll be old enough to go to the casino floor.
Sarah won't be 21 until next month.
I've been helping out at the shelter for over a year now. I love working with the animals.
We used to be part of the neighborhood pet patrol.
Whenever anyone in our town lost a pet, we'd post flyers and work the phones until that family had their missing member back.
I miss doing that.
We used to be part of the pet patrol, but it's handled online now. I hear it's very efficient, but we don't have the internet in our house, so we're not part of it anymore.
Being on the volunteer fire department is considered a huge honor in our town.
There are too many volunteers every year, and they can only let in so many people, so it's very competitive.
Well, the exception is on Thanksgiving. During the parade, they make everyone in town an honorary member. It's a nice gesture, and everyone gets very excited about it.
We go all out for Thanksgiving.
We go all out for all holidays in general. You should visit on Independence Day. We have a top-notch fireworks show every year.
Oh, and don't forget about the Easter egg hunt. That's my favorite.
I know people who have internet in their homes, and it does seem pretty useful, but there is a lot of bad stuff online.
I've been online, and there's a lot of good stuff on there, too.
I'm sure it has its uses. It's just too easy to stumble across unpleasant language or other bad things. I just don't want it in my home.
Walter's dental practice does have its own website. People can book appointments online.
My secretary Janet runs the site for me. We have internet at the office, and she is great at using it. She spends some of her downtime on a website called the TikTok.
Oh, I've never heard of that one. What is it for?
Honestly, I have no idea. Janet has showed it to me multiple times, and I just can't wrap my head around it. My father and grandfather were both dentists. All the men in my family were. Well, except for my brother Stephen. It's a family tradition.
Stephen is quite the rebel. He lives by his own rules.
He's a pediatrician in Salt Lake City. That's clear across the state from us.
He only comes to visit a few times a year, usually on holidays.
We do drive up to Salt Lake City once in a while. My friend Linda lives there too, so we get to visit her and Stephen in one trip.
Our trips to Salt Lake City are one of the few things we have trouble agreeing on. There's just so much to do, and everybody wants to do something different.
I like to go to the zoo, Sarah likes the planetarium, and Walter likes the Natural History Museum.
We started playing a board game right before our trip. The winner gets to pick where we go.
Sarah usually wins, but she's very gracious when she does. Last time she won, she picked the zoo to make Alice happy.
I won twice in a row. I would have felt selfish if I picked the planetarium both times. Plus, we hadn't gone to the zoo in forever. It wouldn't have been fair.
Isn't she just the best?
I love volunteering there.
Some of Sarah's best friends are residents there.
She's talking about Harold and Eleanor. I've learned so much from them.
They love having her there too. They tell me all the time.
Walter and I thought we did our fair share of volunteering, but Sarah puts us to shame.
It really shouldn't count as work if it's fun to do. Eleanor was a phone operator for most of her life. From what she says, there was a time when operators had to manually make phone calls go through. I can't even wrap my head around that.
I've known Eleanor for years. She organized the town's first bake sale, and she always had the best Christmas decorations every year when I was growing up.
Our town gets very into Christmas lights. Walking around and looking at all the decorated houses, it's a tradition for us.
I prefer driving around. It's a lot warmer.
Can't disagree with that. Sarah and I don't like the cold weather as much as Walter does.
Oh, I've always loved the winter. Playing outside in the snow is one of my favorite things growing up. I've made more than my fair share of snowmen.
I'm more of a summer girl.
Me too. Harold is the friendliest person you'll ever meet. He can go on for hours about the past.
He used to own the hardware store in town when I was a kid. They had a toy section that was only a few feet wide, but it felt like a full toy store to us kids.
You know, the way you're going on about the past makes you sound a little like Harold.
Well, I don't think I'm quite the storyteller Harold is. He really likes to go into detail.
That's true. He once told me a story about toilet paper that lasted for 20 minutes. It was a good story.
We've all heard that one. Harold likes to go on and on about how toilet paper rolls have gotten smaller and smaller over the years. So now you have to buy a 12-pack of toilet paper just to get the same amount of toilet paper that used to come in a 4-pack.
He has a point. I mean, if they still made them like they used to, my grocery trips would be a lot easier.
None of us gamble, but I don't understand why it has such a bad reputation.
I've never gambled before, but I do want to try it when I turn 21 next year.
I've tried it. Gambling isn't really for me, but it seems like an innocent enough pastime.
You'd think the hunt was just about the kids, but it's just as much fun for us grown-ups, too. The night before the hunt, all the adults get together and spend a few hours hiding the eggs. The next day, all the kids spend a few hours looking for them. It's like the adults get to play, too.
Sarah takes hiding Easter eggs very seriously. Some of the places she finds to hide them are downright diabolical.
Well, I remember what it was like hunting for eggs as a kid. The best feeling was when you'd find an egg in a hard-to-find spot. If someone doesn't hide them in places like that, then the kids won't get a chance to feel like that.
Sarah never does anything without giving it her best effort. You should hear her music lessons.
What is there to say? I guess I'm a little bit down on my luck right now, between jobs. I had 2 job interviews earlier this week, and I'm hoping to have more soon. I don't like to admit this usually, but it might be important for your book. I'm actually homeless currently. It might surprise you that I actually came from a fairly wealthy family. My dad was some sort of hotshot furniture salesman, and my mom was a cable TV installer. We actually owned our own house. It was double wide. But yeah, I guess I always thought I'd be a big success like my parents, and I guess it's just all right that they're not around anymore so that they don't have to see what my life has turned into. You know, I didn't exactly meet their high expectations. I wasn't always homeless. Actually, when I was in Alabama, I had 3,000 square feet to myself. I felt like a wealthy land baron or something. But I didn't have a house on the land, but I did have a really nice tent at first. It was great. I lived there for a full year before I could save up for a house. Well, not a house. I actually bought an 8-foot by 10-foot shed that was fantastic. It was just as good as a house. Had a roof, 4 walls, a window, a door, everything I needed. I don't know why more people don't just live in sheds. My first job interview was for a job selling jewelry. I didn't have any experience, so they said they couldn't hire me. My second job interview was at an adult video store. They needed someone to clean up those video booths after customers used them. I also didn't have any experience with this, but I really wanted the job, so I lied and said that I'd been doing it for 15 years already in 3 different cities. I thought for sure they were going to hire me, but for some reason they didn't. I guess that was karma telling me that I shouldn't have lied. Oh, I've been an orphan almost my entire life. Yeah, my parents died in a fishing accident when I was really little. The only living relative I have is my Uncle Albert, but we don't really talk at all. He's been in and out of prison my whole life. My Uncle Albert? Oh, he goes back to prison all the time. He's actually serving a life sentence, but he keeps escaping. I don't know how he keeps getting out, but the guards catch him and put him right back in. Albert is from the dark side of my family. We didn't like to associate with them very much growing up. We were always a little bit ashamed to be related to Albert's side of the family, to be honest. I mean, I know that I'm not some great success or anything like that, but at least I'm trying to better myself. Albert's mom was a lawyer, and his dad was a member of Congress for over a decade. It's like they didn't even try to have honest jobs. My parents used to take me fishing on the southern coast of Alabama. I don't think we were supposed to be fishing at the spot they found, but there was never anybody around to tell us to leave, so we did it anyway. It was really nice, and almost like a real vacation. Anyway, we didn't have a real boat. We had just 3 of those floating pool chairs that we'd like paddle out and just sit there and fish. It was really relaxing. Anyway, one day my parents caught an undertow and the current pushed them out deep into the ocean. So luckily I managed to get to shore, but it took me a while to find anyone for help. The authorities searched and searched for them, but all they could find were their pool chairs, empty. It was really bad, but I was placed into the foster care system. I wasn't in the foster care system for very long. When I was 9, I was placed with a foster family, but unfortunately, my foster parents died the first night that I was with them. A burglar broke in and murdered them. My foster mom was able to call the police, but by the time they arrived, they were already dead. and the police couldn't find the burglar anywhere. The prosecutor on the case assumed that I had murdered my foster parents and even accused me of killing my birth parents. So he got the judge to sign off that I was going to be tried as an adult instead of a child, even though I was only 9. Luckily, they did find the real killer, and it turns out he was just really good at hiding, and he was in a crawl space under the house. So, unfortunately, due to this legal loophole that in Alabama I was now considered legally an adult, so I was out of the foster care system and I had to find a job. So I worked in a coal mine. It wasn't the work I wanted to be doing, but it paid something. And then when I was 18, I moved out of Alabama. I used to work at the Bellflower as a professional gambler. That's actually how I met Mr. Davenport. His security guards thought that I was cheating, actually, so they brought me in for hours and hours of questioning. Thankfully, they looked through the security footage and saw that I was not cheating. They could have just kicked me out, but Mr. Davenport was so kind, and he actually put me in a room for a full week to make up for the trouble that had been caused. This is the nicest hotel I've ever been in.
When you're part of a magic show, you spend countless hours practicing. We only perform 4 nights a week, so it would seem like it's an easy schedule, but we spend maybe another 30 hours practicing. More if you're bringing someone new into the show. It's a lot. I've been performing my magic act here since the last time it was renovated. Never heard of the place before that. I like it here. I like Mr. Davenport, too. He's very hands-off. I appreciate the fact that he doesn't try to give me input about my show. I haven't really talked to him that much. We talked a little bit when this place was being renovated. My magic act was becoming popular, and I was looking for a place to take up residency, and he was looking for an act to host in his arena. It worked out great. We've really only spoken a few times since then, usually about business. I guess you could say he's one of my best friends. I don't like interacting with people unless there's a purpose. I would say I'm a people person, but I grow weary of them quickly if they overstay their welcome or talk. I prefer quiet types who show who they are by their actions. You know, a lot of people will have shallow, fake friends who will tell you all about their day, but they'll never lift a finger if you need to move or get rid of a body. I really don't like people like that. I've never had to get rid of a body. But if I did, I wouldn't be stupid about it. You know, everybody just tries to bury the body or throw it in a river with something heavy on it, trying to keep the cops from finding it. The cops are going to find the body. But if I was going to get rid of the body, I would throw it in the river with a bungee cord harness attached to it, and then I wouldn't attach the other end to anything. So when the cops found the body, as they're going to, they wouldn't assume it was murder. They would just assume it was someone stupid who deserved to die. I mean, people win Darwin Awards every day. Why not take advantage of it? Oh, it's understandable if you didn't know that I had my own magic act. I'm not on any of the posters. I used to be, but I learned early on that audiences expect a magician to be male. So I hired a male presenting actor as the magician. I started working as the assistant. But ticket sales, thump, shot way up.